We see DMITRI KOZLOV already in the ring. For anybody out there who follows AAWA, you already know the story. You already know what's gone down between these two individuals. You already know the history of this man right here, J-Par, the agent to the stars, a former Young Lions champion, a man who comes out here every week, whether you like him or you don't like him, and he busts his ass in that ring. And one thing that he does not do is he does not break the neck of his opponents. I cannot say the same thing for DMITRI KOZLOV. KOZLOV outside the ring there. And this one is a little bit odd. I mean, this is the one night that I've seen some J-Par shirts out in the crowd. It's the one night that I've seen some support for J-Par. It's the one time I've seen J-Par ever come out here and salute these fans and kind of get it back in a way. J-Par, 30 minutes and one fall here to get his revenge. J-Par looking to settle the beef. You hear that opening bell. Arachnid Soul here in the booth, the best damn commentary man going. J-Par couldn't quite get the range on those punches. Irish whip, patella drop kick, no water in the pool. J-Par comes back in, gets caught. High crotch, scooping a slam that time, and DMITRI KOZLOV now with the armbar. Fans, we thank you for joining us here live tonight on pay-per-view. Coming to you from an undisclosed location, somewhere in the best city on God's green earth in NYC, that's right, New York City. High crotch once again that time from DMITRI KOZLOV. KOZLOV's got a lot to prove here. I mean, he's fighting a guy who is a former Young Lions champion, as I mentioned when J-Par walked out here. But KOZLOV's also a man who would like that belt for himself. A lot of people feel that KOZLOV has not been shown. Good old J-Par with that trick knee. DMITRI KOZLOV, a lot of people feel has not been shown the proper respect here in terms of championship opportunities. DMITRI KOZLOV has never won a championship, as we see the Muay Thai plums and the knees. Once again, high crotch, scooping a slam. It's the third time tonight that KOZLOV has gone for it. It's the third time tonight that it's worked. Front face lock, takes his man up and over with the traditional vertical suplex, and that one was textbook. Almost reminds me of the way that Chris Candido used to do it, just snug and beautiful. The referee here starting the count. Now, one of the things that I'm asking, and maybe one of the things that J-Par is asking too, and maybe not admitting, is how good is the neck of J-Par? I mean, how much has he been able to heal in a couple of months? Months ago, it was a match between these two, as we see the victory roll. It was a match between these two months ago, and it was J-Par eating not one but multiple psycho drivers. It's almost like a power bomb down into a pile driver. And we're going to look to hear from J-Par in upcoming weeks to really figure out exactly what happened. Some people said he broke his neck. Some people said it was a stinger. I actually remember that night if I can step away for calling this for a second, I actually remember that the EMTs and everything, after we went off the air, there was a victory roll there. And them checking on J-Par, and J-Par had a couple of minutes there where there wasn't any kind of feeling in his fingertips. You could see him talking to them, and they were asking him to wiggle his toes and all sorts of stuff, and that neck breaker's not going to help. KOZLOV now went for that hammer off the gods, the double stomp off the top, couldn't get it. The high crotch scoop and a slam worked for him again. But for one night only, I will say it is nice to see J-Par back in the AAWA. We're going to see how that neck holds up. Once again, KOZLOV slams his man. And now kind of laughing at him. And you got to think, for a guy who's coming back off a serious neck injury, could it have been a stinger? Could he have been, you know, partially paralyzed? Was there a broken neck? We don't fully know. Like I said, we're going to talk to J-Par in weeks to come, as these two just concluded their hockey fight at center ring. But what kind of guy is doing, you know, jaw breakers to the neck and neck breakers and lariats and spinal taps to a guy that just came back off a very severe spinal cord injury, to say the least? Irish whip that time. J-Par came in, looked for that Aizuke Busaiku knee strike, could not get it. KOZLOV now sent back to the outside, and J-Par looks pretty good. You know, I have to admit, he looks pretty fresh in there still. There's a Manhattan drop coming to you live from possibly Manhattan or maybe one of the other boroughs. Probably not Staten Island, though. Victory roll. Couldn't even get a 1 count that time. So there's so much more going on here than just a wrestling match. There's no championship on the line here. It's a nasty submission hold, and the way that he rolled into it, and he's got double wrist control, that's going to be it. J-Par somehow getting out of that. But no, the stakes are much higher than maybe a championship. I mean, we're talking about a guy coming back here who might get his neck broken, to be honest with you, in this rear clinch. It was like a camel clutch variation, too. J-Par has a lot to prove here, trying to prove with the eye rake and another victory roll. J-Par, of course, one of these guys, he wants to prove a lot of things, but, you know, he doesn't mind taking a shortcut here or there. You know, one of the dirtiest players in the game. And, you know, listen, there's some people that are fans of that, and here tonight we actually see the crowd getting behind J-Par. It almost looked like J-Par tapped out there, but the referee says no, and J-Par waved it off. Kozlov's a guy who has an MMA-type style, as we see the Raideen bomb, and he sits out, referee in position, only a 2 count. Kozlov with that MMA style, also very good at European-style pro wrestling. Also very good now that he, you know, has had a little bit more seasoning in the U.S. at American-style pro wrestling. Picking up some of the dirty tricks from maybe even people like J-Par. J-Par now, Muay Thai plum, couple of knees, forearm shivers here, possibly elbow shivers from the mounted position. That's that Bruce Lee 1-inch punch. Kozlov now, off the top, there's the hammer of the gods. To the back of the spine of J-Par. Kozlov not even pulling J-Par out of the corner that time. Thought maybe he would have pulled him out, tried to cinch him up, maybe go for a pinfall. Decided not to. As J-Par now outside the ring, and I have to admit, you know, I don't think it was a broken neck because J-Par's come back. It's only been a couple of months. And whatever it was, it looks like J-Par's been testing it out there as we finally see that Aizuke Busaiku knee strike. Shades of Kenta from Pro Wrestling Noah and many other greats. I think a Harley Race had that high knee here in the U.S. And once again, it's that weird arm bar, and he actually takes his elbow and digs it in. There's that signature small package. Low blow that time from DMITRI KOZLOV. And really, almost what we're seeing here is 2 guys who don't mind taking the shortcuts. 2 guys, I mean, let's use real words here. You know, screw the semantics. 2 guys who don't mind cheating to win. Really trying to out-cheat one another. J-Par ends up now in the corner against the turnbuckles. Kozlov comes in. Nice corkscrew move there. Splashes him, stomps the yard. And once again, into this weird camel clutch. And you see he's got the body scissors there, and J-Par kind of realized just, you know, years of being a vet in this sport, ring positioning, the ropes have to be behind me. He reached back, but wasn't really too sure of where he would find a cable back there, but he did. J-Par runs into Kozlov, goes down. Kozlov now surveys the damage, picks his man back up, ducks behind, and a low blow that time. And this is beef. The ref's going to show a little bit of leniency. This is a grudge match here. Kozlov once again will go to that submission. Almost reminds me of that submission that, you know, you would see Mero use. And just really nasty that you would even pull a guy's neck back like that. But, you know, this is about money. And the guy who wins is not only the guy who's going to settle the beef, but this is also about the guy who wins gets the bigger paycheck. And once again, these 2 are going to square off in another hockey fight. They exchange blows. The ref gives them room. There's the super kick. Maybe J-Par's tribute to the West Coast heartthrobs, but it was a diving lariat from DMITRI KOZLOV that ended the series. Hammerlock throw to the corner, reversed, rolling soul butt. Trifecta of toe kicks. Left hook, a victory roll out of the corner. Still really not even getting close to getting any 3 counts here. Both of these guys still pretty fresh. Thought it was going to be a kryptonite crunch, but instead of targeting the neck, as we see the sharpshooter, that targeted the legs. J-Par with his first sharpshooter of the night. J-Par had a pretty big match a couple of months ago where he actually won, and Only needed one sharpshooter that night as we see that nasty neck breaker. And once again, DMITRI KOZLOV not pulling any punches here. J-Par missed with that punch. Shoulder block that time. Down goes Kozlov. Double leg. J-Par now steps through once again, pays tribute to Bret Hitman Hart with that sharpshooter. You know, J-Par is up there from, you know, Canada, so he would have grown up watching the Harts, watching Owen and Bruce and Keith. Nice Fujiwara armbar takedown that time, and he keeps the hold. J-Par, one of these guys, he has so many tricks up his sleeve, and once again, he will go back to those knees. Rakes the eyes. J-Par not too proud to take a little dig there. Scooping a slam that time. Kozlov backs off. Taunts, reassesses the situation. Came back in. Now here's another armbar. And J-Par that time surprisingly not even getting the rope break. Maybe a matter of pride. He wanted to show that he could wrestle his way out of that hold and did. And J-Par blocks a shot to give one. Stomps the yard. Stomps the knee. And this is that punch again. Actually sent J-Par that time over that middle rope to the outside. J-Par now rocked on the outside, convalescing outside, taking a powder outside. But J-Par also a thinking man's wrestler. So he's also strategizing outside, and you don't see any of his clients out there. But J-Par's the kind of guy, he doesn't need other people to think for him. He makes his own mind up. Very intelligent guy, to be quite honest with you. Might not agree with him most of the time, but very smart guy. Both men jockey for position at center ring, collar and elbow, and J-Par once again focusing that knee, stomping the midsection that time, and steps back into that sharpshooter. J-Par's beat a lot of guys with that sharpshooter. And he's not ashamed to wear you down with it. I don't know if J-Par was maybe looking for like a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker that time. He had his hand set for it. For the third time tonight, that Bruce Lee punch. Kozlov now backs up into the corner. Comes forward, diving spear, drops J-Par. Very lackadaisical cover, and almost had him. And can you imagine, we would have never, wait a minute. What are these two doing out here? The West Coast Heartthrobs, we mentioned them a little bit earlier. What the hell is going on? I'm sitting here in the booth, I'm trying to tell you what a great guy J-Par is, and now all of a sudden, Kozlov's getting jumped by 3 men. And J-Par's cutting a promo on him. There's the armbar. I mean, is this thing still going? What's going on here? The ref letting this thing go? I mean, this is beef. I don't know if this is a no disqualification match. A lot of questions here. But Kozlov's out here by himself. And here come the super kicks. The West Coast Heartthrobs, who, you know, they're scheduled to have a match here tonight. They're scheduled to be in tag team action here tonight. And we talked about how they weren't out here. I just thought J-Par was coming out here like a man, like he had something to prove, like he wanted to show us something. And I'm not even going to call this action. The West Coast Heartthrobs jumping DMITRI KOZLOV. Wait a minute. This is that psycho driver. He hit it on him again. That's what put J-Par out 2-3 months ago. And J-Par back on his feet somehow. Kozlov now, and I think he's got him covered. No, 2 and some change. J-Par caught in the double underhook. Tiger driver, dropped him on his head. That is it. DMITRI KOZLOV somehow overcomes all odds, to be quite honest with you. We're going to see if management's going to do anything about the West Coast Heartthrobs coming out here and jumping this man Kozlov. To be honest with you, I'm disgusted with Kozlov and J-Par. I don't like either one of these guys. We got more action on tap for you. Beef continues. And after that jumping, 13 minutes and 4 seconds, the Tiger Driver 91, DMITRI KOZLOV comes out your victor.